Quinten Post has been amazing during his short time with the Golden State Warriors so far. Just 25 games into his NBA career, Post is solidifying himself as potentially the Warriors center of the future. Man, has he just been amazing to watch. Not only offensively, right, with his three-point shooting, but defensively as well on both ends of the court. He is really making a massive impact for this team. He's literally exactly what they needed at the center position, and exactly the type of guy that us Warriors fans have been wanting Mike Dunleavy to trade for over the past couple years. And sure enough, the Warriors got their 7-foot center who can stretch the floor in this past year's draft. So let's go over Quinten Post here in this video, only 25 games in to his NBA career. So first off, Quinten Post, he was the 52nd pick of the 2024 draft, right at the end of the draft. He's from the Netherlands, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, Post, he's been on a two-way contract for most of this season. And really, he wasn't expected to get any playing time at all. This kind of reminds me a few years ago with Podziemski and Trayce Jackson-Davis, right? We drafted them, right? Trayce Jackson-Davis was a 4-year college player. Podziemski had 2 years of college ball experience. But both of them weren't really expected to be playing time. They obviously had some very polished games, but they weren't really expected to be in the rotation right away. And sure enough, both in their rookie seasons, Podziemski and Trayce Jackson-Davis ended up having a massive impact on last year's roster. And now with Post, right, we didn't expect him to be in the rotation at all. We expected pretty much a Trayce and Kevon Looney center rotation with playing some Draymond at the 5 as well. But no, Post has solidified himself as a staple on this Warriors roster. And really the big thing that opened up this opportunity for him was the Jimmy Butler trade. Now, he was getting playing time before that, right? He was already starting, to find his groove in the NBA. Just his energy on both ends of the court was being really impactful for this team. Even before the Jimmy Butler trade, I know they were struggling a little bit before that, but still, his play regardless was earning him some minutes at the NBA level. And I think it was only a matter of time at that point, when would his two-way contract be converted? The Jimmy Butler trade, right? You trade away Dennis Schroeder, you trade away Kyle Anderson, you trade away Lindy Waters, you trade away Andrew Wiggins, and you only get back Jimmy Butler. Well, guess what? That opens up a perfect spot for Quinten Post. And really the Warriors around, this time, right? Just 10 to 12 games ago, they were really in need of some more three-point shooting, right? That had been a struggle for them all year. Not that they were a bad three-point shooting team per se, but with a lot of their inconsistencies offensively, it was causing them to lose a lot of close games because the Warriors have been a top 10 defensive team all year. But once the offense gets more consistent, we could see this team rolling. And sure enough, the offense has completely turned around. And I would say Quinten Post has been a big part of that, even in the limited minutes he's gotten. So let's go over some of his stats for this year. He's only averaging a little over 15 minutes a game, but he's averaging 8.3 points on 46.9% of the field. But here's the key part, 42.9% from 3, taking just under 4 3-point attempts per game. Also for a big man, really good as well, 82.4% from the free throw line. Also averaging 3.9 rebounds to go along with 1.5 assists, and his plus minus is plus 0.6. So Quinten Post, pretty solid. I mean, you could argue if he would have played more games this year, right? Because obviously he's probably going to end up playing, let's say, like 40 to 45 games. He could probably be in that Rookie of the Year conversation. I would argue, too, if he would have played enough games, he'd probably be on that all-rookie team this year. But regardless, the Warriors got their guy. He's exactly who they need. Like I said, a 7'1", three-point shooting big man who shoots 43% from 3. Like, the Warriors couldn't have gotten a better center at the right time. And the key thing is, too, right, he can run the floor well. He blocks shots. He has great energy. Never stops playing hard. I've even seen a few times lately where it seems like he's getting into some scuffles with some guys. Like, he's not backing down at all. This guy is tough. Man, he just brings all the intangibles that we need right now. He's just exactly what the Warriors need to create space for Jimmy to drive and just overall get Steph better looks. Now, I do think Steve Kerr eventually will end up using a center in the starting lineup, at least once we go into the playoffs. I mean, the Warriors are in a good position to get the 6th seed. Maybe if they keep playing well, they can get that 5th seed from the Houston Rockets. But, Post has still been coming off the bench in limited minutes, and he's been playing really well. I did like that starting lineup, with Steph, Buddy Hield, Jimmy, Draymond, and Quinten Post. I sort of understand why Steve Kerr hasn't gotten back to that, right? Especially because Podziemski and Moody have been playing really well. Just their energy on both ends of the court, and just overall the defense that they brought in. So, I understand that, right? I understand bringing both Buddy Hield and Quinten Post off the bench. But I would like to see some better balance from a shooting perspective and a size perspective in that starting lineup. And I have to think that you're probably not going to be able to start Draymond at the 5, depending what matchups you have in the playoffs, right? Likely, you're probably going to want to start either Post, Trayce Jackson-Davis, or Kevon Looney. But I think the big thing with Post, breaking out and just being a revelation for the Warriors this year It's just a really unfortunate situation for Trayce Jackson-Davis because he played in the Rising Stars little tournament game at the All-Star Weekend. He's had a solid year overall, but unfortunately with how well Quinten Post is playing, and obviously with Kevon Looney, he's having a good year as well, it's completely taken Trayce Jackson-Davis out of the rotation. So if there's any negatives to come out of this, that's probably it, because I really like Trayce Jackson-Davis as a player, right? He can do a lot of things really, really well, whether running the floor, obviously finishing lobs, defensively, he can set good screens, run pick and rolls really well. So that's one thing where it's like, it's unfortunate, right, that Trayce is out of the rotation, but man, Post is really solidifying himself as a staple for this team here going forward. And, you know, we'll see if he can keep up this three-point shooting. I mean, it's been pretty awesome to watch, but his confidence, man, it's through the roof right now, you know, and he's getting that opportunity. So we'll see, you know, how many minutes Post continues to get as this season, you know, finishes up, and especially in the playoffs, right? I'm curious to see how Steve Kerr uses him in the playoffs, right? In those situational matchups where maybe you need a guy of his size and his height, maybe you need that floor spacing at the 5 spot. But really, I could kind of see his role, especially in the playoffs, being kind of like an Emmanuel Bjelica type role. Maybe he won't necessarily get in every game. Maybe he won't necessarily start, but he's going to be used in those situational matchups where you need a stretch 5 big. You know, somebody really tall that can guard like a Jokic, for example, or guard like Alperen Sengun, right? So we'll see what happens. Or, you know, he could even be used to guard like Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, right? So Quinten Post is going to be very valuable for this team, and it'll be interesting to see how Steve Kerr kind of moves the chess pieces, right? How is he going to use each of these centers in the playoffs when it comes, you know, to Post, Looney, and Trayce Jackson-Davis, because they all have very specific skill sets, but I think they all have very good qualities that can be used, you know, in different situational matchups. So we'll see how Steve Kerr continues to use Quinten Post, but I just want to make a little video highlighting how well he has played this year, because the fact that the Warriors got a 7'1" big man who could stretch the floor in the draft, he's super young, high energy guy. I mean, this is just a perfect situation, because honestly, I don't know who the Warriors could have traded for at the trade deadline, or somebody they could have signed, you know, let's say in like the buyout market or something like that, but like, Quinten Post was perfect. So this is completely unfair that we have him, to be honest with you. I did not expect Quinten Post to be in the rotation and be playing this well. It's been awesome to watch. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.